Now we have to solve the NVIDIA price range question, where our task is that we are given a list of stock prices for NVIDIA. We have to identify the lowest and highest prices in the list and return the range between them. So for example, if we are given the list 200, 215, 198, 225, 210, the function should return 27, because the difference between the highest value 225 and the lowest value 198 is 27. And in the second example, if we are given the list 150, 170, 160, 180, 140, the function should retain 40, because the difference between the highest value 180 and the lowest value 140 is 40. The program requires us to define a function called price range, which takes one parameter, prices. And this prices parameter will be a list of numeric stock prices. The function should return a single integer representing the difference between the highest and lowest prices in the list. We do have some constraints. We can assume that there are no duplicate prices in the list, and the list will contain at least two prices, so that we don't have the case where only one price is given and then we cannot calculate the range. We also need to only implement the function. We don't need to have input-output code, because the test cases will do that for us themselves. So let's start, and first of all, let's define this function, price range, price underscore range, which will have one input, one parameter called prices. And in here, first of all, we need to ensure that the prices list that is passed to it, it is actually a list. So if not is instance prices comma list. This function is instance will tell us whether the prices parameter that we are passing to it is a list or not. So if it is, then we will raise a type error that the input must be a list of prices. If it is a list and has been validated, then we need to validate the list length. There must be at least two prices in there. So if len prices, and the len function checks the number of items in a list, if this is less than 2, then again we need to raise an error that the list must contain at least two values or two prices. But if both of these have not come true, then we will move forward, where we will validate that all elements are numeric. So for prices, or for each price rather, for price in prices, if not is instance, here we will pass it the parameter price, and the second will be a tuple, int and float, both, so that check for it. Then again we will raise the type error. All prices must be numbers, and int or float. Now, assuming that all of these have passed without any errors, then what we can do is that we can find the maximum and the minimum value so that we can then calculate the range. So the highest value or the maximum value would be found using the max function by passing it the list prices, and the lowest value would be found using the min function and passing it the list prices. Now the function has to return in a requirement, it has to return a single integer representing the difference. So here it will return highest minus lowest. Now let's see whether we have passed the test cases or not. And we have passed all the test cases. So that is it for the NVIDIA price range question.